Hello, and welcome to the Sapphire Theater Company's virtual stage. My name is Bonnie Mill, and I am the Executive Artistic Director of the Sapphire Theater Company, based here in Indianapolis since 2008. The Sapphire is a totally mobile applied theater company. With a focus on social issues, we respond directly to the needs of our community with customized programs, performances, and production support. Tonight and very soon, thank you for your patience, we are bringing you a reading of excerpts from the Turnaway play, featuring some of Indy's greatest actors on stage and screen. It was very recently that the Sapphire received an urgent request to join in the national series of readings of the Turnaway play before the 2024 presidential elections. The email came from Natasha Estrada, who told us, "Our team is passionate in the belief that performing readings and having candid discussions of the play can help in reframing the national conversation, increasing storytelling, and reducing stigma associated with the topic of abortion." Of course, we jumped at the chance to be part of it. These readings are happening across the nation in North Hollywood, New Orleans, Cincinnati, Salt Lake City, Seattle, New York City, and now Indianapolis, and on the virtual stage. The Turnaway play is based on the groundbreaking Turnaway study, 10 years, 1,000 women, and the consequences of having and being denied an abortion. Dr. Diana Green Foster sought to answer the question, what happens when a woman seeking an abortion is turned away? Dr. Foster assembled a team of scientists to conduct a 10-year study specifically to answer this question. They followed 1,000 women from across America, some of whom received abortions, some of whom were turned away. Then Dr. Foster presented the results in the Turnaway study. Fortunately for us, the story continues with the Turnaway study being transformed into the Turnaway play, written by Leslie Lisa Green, sister of Dr. Foster. I am thrilled to announce that Dr. Foster is going to join us tonight after the end of this reading for a short Q&A session, so please stay tuned. With a very gracious permission of the playwright, we have trimmed the play down and adapted it for the virtual stage. This is not a full reading of the play. If you're interested in more information or in producing a full-length reading of a production or a full-length reading or a production of the Turnaway play, please go to the Turnaway Play's website for information on how to do so. I highly recommend that you engage with them. Tonight's reading portrays real stories that are sometimes difficult to hear. If you feel triggered or feel the need for factual, researched information, the Turnaway Play Project offers those resources. The link is on the screen and in the chat, and we'll be adding it to the chat throughout tonight's reading. Now, it's time to get to the reading. Our play begins in a university lecture hall in June 2022. All of you out there in our virtual audience are now one large nationwide class of college students taking the course Sex, Science, and Society. And so, class, please feel free to use your YouTube chat to help me welcome your guest lecturer for today, my friend and colleague, the demographer, Dr. Diana Green Foster.
Hello, class. I'm excited to be here. The kind of students who begin their college career by taking a course titled Sex, Science, and Society, you are my people. And wow, you're taking this class at an important moment for sex, science, and society. With the Supreme Court Dobbs decision coming any moment. I'll be talking today about my research. I'll give you an overview and use statements from people in the study to demonstrate the findings. Today's lecture will be interactive, and there are 2 ways for you to participate. If you're logged into your YouTube account, you can enter comments into the chat directly. So please try that right now. Just say hello, tell me your first name and where you're watching from. And as those comments come in, I will tell you the other way to interact with us. If you're not logged into your YouTube account, please feel free to text us at 317-966-7520. 29. That's 317-966-PLAY. And I have some teaching assistants here who will enter your comments into the YouTube chat, and we'll be able to see those and try out this interaction. So again, please just feel free to either text or type into the comments. Just let me say hello and your first name and maybe where you're watching from. Hi, Dr. Foster, Diana from California. Hello. We have a lot in common. Hello from Allison in Los Angeles. Hi, Allison. So nice. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much, Terry, Mariah. Nice to see you all. Thank you so much for being here today. And as those comments continue to come in, you can keep saying hello. I want to start by asking an interactive question. How many of you know someone who has had an abortion? You do not have to identify them. You don't have to identify yourself. You can say yes or no in the chat or by text if you know anyone who has had an abortion. And I'm going to keep looking at these comments saying hello. Hi, Emma. Hi, Angelic. Jody. Hi. All right. Okay. So Ample says, I do know somebody. Lots of people are saying yes. Absolutely. Okay, great. Thank you for these responses. And that was actually probably all of you do, even if you haven't said yes in the comments yet, because around 1 in 4 American women will have an abortion in their lifetime. 1 in 4. It is likely that all of you know someone who has had an abortion, but they may not have told you about it because there's a stigma around unwanted pregnancy and an even bigger one around abortion. Just the other day, I was at a small dinner party with a group of women, and after hearing what I study, one woman said, I don't know how anyone could kill their baby. Everybody heard it and nobody said a word, but after she left, literally everyone there had a story of how they had had an abortion or helped someone who needed one. Now, some of that stigma has to do with the idea that abortion hurts women, an idea that has been used to justify abortion bans and other anti-abortion laws. A prime example was in 2007 when Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy allowed abortion restrictions to stand, saying, while we find no reliable data to measure the phenomenon, it seems unexceptionable to conclude some women come to regret their choice to abort the infant life they once created and sustained. Severe depression and loss of esteem can follow. Let me say that again. While we find no reliable data to measure the phenomenon, it seems unexceptionable to conclude some women come to regret their choice. Once more, for all of us who believe that major policy decisions should be based on evidence, he said, we find no reliable data to measure this phenomenon. No reliable data. Those are words a demographer lives for. We began data collection the next year in Oakland, California.
Yes, hello, this is Serena. As I mentioned, these questions are part of a major health study. First, I would like to ask you a few questions about yourself. Are you currently employed full-time or part-time, unemployed, a homemaker, or unable to work?
Who do you currently live with? Alone? Mother, father, grandparent, spouse, partner, or boyfriend? Fiance, children, roommates, or other? Who is we?
Do you live in a house, apartment, condominium, mobile home, another type of home, or are you homeless? Apartment.
2 children. Are these biological children? Stepchildren? Biological.
Has a doctor, nurse, or other healthcare professional ever told you that you had any of the following medical conditions?
Do you suffer from any type of the following types of chronic pain?
Asthma,
Abdominal pain,
high cholesterol,
pelvic pain,
diabetes?
back pain, osteoarthritis, or migraines?
How tall are you without shoes?
How much do you currently weigh?
When did you first consider having an abortion?
Did any of the following slow you down or prevent you from coming to the clinic earlier in your pregnancy?
Not knowing you were pregnant?
Not knowing where to go to get the abortion.
Figuring out how to get to the clinic.
Travel cost, cost of the procedure, insurance coverage.
Trouble deciding whether or not you wanted an abortion.
Did you experience any side effects or health problems from your abortion?
Do you have any idea of what you will do when the baby is born?
To really know the effect of abortion on people's lives, you need to compare people who get abortions with people who want abortions but aren't able to get one, people the clinics turn away. So let's talk about why someone who wants an abortion would be turned away. One more time, I'm going to give you the chance to comment in the YouTube chat or text your comments to 317-966-7529. Let's talk about why someone who wants an abortion would be turned away. What do you think? Call it out. Just let me know what your opinion is and what you think some of the reasons are that somebody might be turned away if they need an abortion. And as those comments continue to come in, there's a little bit of a tech lag. Okay, I'm seeing it's too late to get one. They don't have the money to pay for it. Excellent. The state they live in, they have health issues. Yeah, absolutely. These are all excellent answers. So there are many possible reasons why a clinic might turn someone away, and you can keep those coming in. But in our study, we looked at people who were turned away because they arrived after the clinic's gestational limit. That's the point in a pregnancy beyond which a clinic will no longer perform an abortion. However, there is no single law or scientific finding that determines that point. So two clinics in the same state may have very different gestational limits. If a clinic performs abortions up to 12 weeks, say, and you show up at 12 weeks in a day, you were out of luck. You were turned away. I put together a study at the University of California, San Francisco, the leading university dedicated exclusively to the health sciences, as we like to point out. It ran through 2017. We recruited people who sought abortions at 30 facilities across the country. And I led a kick-ass team of women researchers. We followed 1,000 people for up to 5 years each, calling every 6 months for interviews in English or Spanish. And we got the data.
The next few questions have to do with sexual relationships and family planning. Have you had sex in the last month?
The last time you had sex, did you or your partner use a method of contraception? What method?
Have you had a miscarriage in the 6 months since we last spoke?
Is there a special person with whom you can share joys or sorrows?
Have you had another abortion in the 6 months since we last spoke?
How do you think your life will be different a year from now?
To your knowledge, are you now pregnant?
How do you think your life will be different 5 years from now?
Are you currently trying to become pregnant?
Great. Thank you for your time. We will be contacting you for another interview in 6 months. Right, that will be in February 2015. Bye.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. We can pick this up again tomorrow. Same time? Great. It's Louisa, right?
Yeah.
I'm Serena, that's Rhonda.
Hi.
Welcome. We've been anticipating your arrival.
Did you get a tour?
Yes, Dr. Foster took me around the facility yesterday after the training.
And how was the training?
The training was very interesting. I think the study is amazing, but they ask a lot of tough questions.
Oh?
Yeah, like should people be allowed to have an abortion in their third trimester? Or what if someone has an abortion for sex selection or for fetal anomalies? And what if they're not life-threatening? I mean, if somebody's life is in danger, sure, but what if it's not? And then they have like 5 abortions or 50. Is that wrong? That seems wrong. Is it even possible to have that many?
That exercise is supposed to make you aware of your own beliefs so you can avoid seeming judgmental when you make calls for the study.
Seeming is the key. I make judgments right and left all day long. I mean, you named your twins Hester and Lester. Wonderful.
You can't talk right now because you're about to shoot a bear.
Oh,
Of course, no problem. No, I actually got that one last week.
what?
I kind of want to go hunting with her.
Oh.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I'm at work. I just needed your friends to leave so I could get enough sleep. Your bandmates, whatever. Yeah, at 2 a.m. I had to be up at 6. I can't do this right now. Bye. I'm sorry. That was just my boyfriend.
Live-in boyfriend?
He moved here with me from Texas, but maybe I should have left him there.
That's what I would have done, no question.
I'm supposed to be studying for the MCAT, but there's always a band playing.
Oh, the MCAT.
Yeah, I was hoping I could study here after work sometimes.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. There's nobody here in the evenings.
Cool. Good, that's great. Oh, I have a sensitive stomach, especially since the move.
Oakland doesn't agree with you.
Oh, no, I love it. It's just, my stomach doesn't.
Okay, once more, an interactive, important question here. So get ready to respond in the YouTube chat or by texting 317-966-7529. Why do people decide to have an abortion? Take a moment to share in the chat or by text what you think about those reasons, or you can even just think about it yourself and make a list in your head of the various reasons somebody might have an abortion. Okay, stop. Congratulations. You have given this more thought than many policymakers deciding on abortion restrictions. We wanted to know, not guess, why the people in the Turnaway study were seeking an abortion. Note that we excluded people who are getting medically necessary abortions because people who are facing an immediate threat to their life are rarely turned away. Let's hope it stays that way. Our researchers asked each participant the same open-ended question. What are some of the reasons you decided to have an abortion? Most people gave more than one. Can anyone guess maybe the top reason? And I'll go look at the chat here and see what has come in. Yeah, being denied. Let's see. Policy, that was from before. Yeah, so the top reason, if you have an opinion about that, just giving you a quick moment. Yeah, policy is a reason that people can be denied. Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right. So the top reason that people gave for having an abortion, money. Nearly half of the people in our study said they wanted an abortion because they didn't think they had enough money to raise a child or another child. We collected data and impact statements from our study participants like Brenda.
I was in no position at all to even think about raising a kid. I could not afford diaper, number one. I didn't even know I was pregnant for 4 months because I was still getting my periods. I didn't get nauseous. I wasn't vomiting. All the things that I knew were symptoms of a pregnancy. And I just felt like, okay, it's just my menstrual cycle. I didn't think anything of it.
And Angela.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was 17. And although I was living by myself, I was still scared to tell my mom what was going on. It was almost like me being a kid, trying to hide it and feeling like, let's just take care of this as soon as we can so we never have to tell anyone. When I called my boyfriend and I told him I was pregnant, he hung up the phone. and I didn't get a call back until the next day. He told me, well, I don't think it's the right time.
Kiara?
I was dating this guy who was a horrible guy in every sense of the word. The relationship was physically abusive, mentally abusive. He stalked me. I was already in the process of breaking up with this boyfriend, and then I found out I was pregnant. I was absolutely devastated. I remember sitting on my couch with my roommate and just crying and sobbing. My first instinct was to terminate the pregnancy, and I just kept going. I knew that making the decision would be my way out of this relationship, and I could close that chapter and go forward and not have to look back or have any strings holding me back.
Amy?
It was definitely probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my entire life. The first couple of years, I did not accept it. And now, as I get older, I don't regret the abortion at all. I am where I'm supposed to be in my life, and our daughter is growing up. She is a pretty big highlight in my life. And I basically think that everything that I have ever done, ever worked for, has been for her. And I think that I would have been depriving her by having to support a second one. And I guess being an only child myself, I was really selfish, and I'm still selfish. I just want to give that one person everything that I can. So I know that I made the right decision for myself. And when I think about it now, I don't look into that deep, dark spiral of, oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
I just want to give one person everything that I can. More than half of the people in our study were already parents. So, what were the reasons the study participants gave for why they were seeking an abortion? Money, time, partners, kids, aspirations, preparations, and health. Usually a combination. I saw some of that come in the comments. Is that what you thought? Let me know.
Ready for a practice call?
I think so.
Okay, great. So you've got the questions and the response form, and you know the tone you're going for.
Balanced rapport.
Yep. Casual and friendly in person.
You aren't here to give any advice or opinions.
But try not to sound like a telemarketer or a machine.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me about your difficult pregnancy, your abusive partner, and your starving children. Don't do that.
Okay, I will do that.
Good. Okay, we'll call Rhonda.
Hi, my name is Louisa from the health study. Is Rhonda there?
This is Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda. Is this a good time for your interview?
You know it is.
Great. Thank you for taking time to participate. You do not have to answer any questions that you do not feel comfortable answering, but your answers are very important to us and help us understand how women's lives are affected by pregnancy. I'm nervous.
You're doing fine. Keep going.
Okay. First, I would like to ask you a few questions about yourself. What is your highest grade, the highest grade or year of school you have completed?
I got my master's, baby.
How would you describe your work status? Are you currently employed, full-time?
Oh, I'm employed, all right. I got this nice office, great co-workers.
Thanks. But are you currently employed full-time or part-time, unemployed, a homemaker, or unable to work?
Full-time.
And what kind of work do you do?
Well, I make pretend phone calls.
That sounds like fun.
Actually, you can't say that. No opinions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pretend phone call maker. Got it. Who do you currently live with?
How do you count that exactly? Like, can I count the guy who was in my apartment this morning? Adorable but clueless. Like, he couldn't operate the coffee maker.
Does he live with you?
No way. No coffee, no stay.
Rhonda.
I live alone.
So the total number of people living in your home is 1. Is that right?
And I like it that way.
Okay, good. Now let's skip ahead.
How about you, Louisa? What about this guy you live with?
I am here today to listen to your experiences.
Good.
Oh no, he's calling again.
Do you need to take it?
He's got a job interview today. I hope he's not lost. Hey, what's up? Everything okay? Your pants. Okay, well, did you check on the bathroom floor? Well, then get up and look. God, I think he thinks I'm his mother.
How old is he?
Well, we're both 22.
Oh, a 22-year-old man is a lot younger than a 22-year-old woman.
Okay, let's get back to the interview. Pick it up with question 173. You're doing great.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your experience?
Oh boy, I've got a lot to tell you. Not about me, but about my husband, Theobald. Theobald somehow thinks that I got pregnant all by myself without any help from him. I shouldn't be surprised, since this is the guy who asked me the night before his birthday last year if I could refrain from having my period that day. This is a real story I heard. Like too many men, Theobald doesn't know one single thing about the female anatomy.
One single thing about female anatomy. Got it. Anything else?
That's about it. Oh, it feels good to get that off my chest.
Thank you very much for your time. We will contact you for another interview in 6 months.
Can't wait.
Now you would confirm her contact information and availability for future interviews. We'll go over that later. Any questions?
What are the reasons why the study participants showed up late at the clinic? Brenda?
I didn't find out I was pregnant until I would say 4 months. Some of the people at the abortion clinic were just like, how could you not know you were pregnant when you're this far along? You're such a fucking idiot. You missed 4 periods. And I was like, well, I haven't been having periods for a while. I just thought it was nothing new because really, I hadn't had a period for like 8 or 9 months at that point, just because I was kind of underweight. Like almost all of my calories came from booze. I just wasn't having them. I thought it was nothing new until I felt something kick. I felt like I was being considered the dumbest person in the room who doesn't know she's pregnant for 4 months.
Brenda was denied an abortion. Like many, she was too late in discovering she was pregnant. Others were late because it's hard to get to a clinic. You will only find abortion providers in 10% of counties in this country. Why? There are more than 1,000 restrictions and stipulations on when, where, how, and who can get an abortion. Restrictions on everything from whether private insurance companies can cover abortion procedures to the width of the halls of the abortion clinics. The desired effect, has been to dramatically reduce the number of providers. Why is 15 weeks not enough time? Asks Supreme Court Justice John G. Roberts Jr. I hope he hears the answer before he makes a decision. 15 weeks may simply not be long enough for someone to know they are pregnant, much less make it to a clinic on time.
Thank you very much for your time. We will be contacting you by phone for another interview in 6 months.
That seemed very smooth.
I guess so, but the situation was kind of disturbing.
What was the situation?
She's a graduate student.
Oh, and that was disturbing?
Maybe just surprising. She didn't know she was pregnant until she was 4 months along.
Maybe she was on birth control.
Not very good birth control.
No method is 100% good. A lot of the people we talked to were on birth control when they got pregnant.
I'm on the pill.
And you know it's not 100% effective, right?
Yes, but it practically is.
Practically, for 93 out of 100 people who don't get pregnant in a year of use. Not so much for the 7 who do.
Oh God. I've been feeling weird lately, but I've always had a sensitive stomach. Like last night my boyfriend was sick, and this morning I feel nauseous.
Are you sick?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like just seeing somebody else sick makes me feel sick.
And you want to be a doctor?
Yes?
So what's wrong with your boyfriend?
Too much partying. It's gross. I need him to grow up. I really, really need him to grow up.
Have you ever had the kind of sex that could lead to pregnancy, but you weren't actively trying to make a baby? You don't have to tell me, but have you? Maybe you used a method of contraception and maybe you didn't. Either way, there is a chance you could have become pregnant or caused a pregnancy. Meet Mary. Mary is a hypothetical heterosexual cisgender woman who began having sex at 18, will start menopause around age 45, and wants to have 2 kids when she's ready. How will she accomplish this plan? Mary will have to take 6,844 contraceptive pills or use condoms every time for something like 2,000 acts of intercourse, or replace her patches 975 times, or her vaginal rings 325 times, or have 4 to 6 intrauterine devices inserted and removed. And even if she's very responsible and careful, Mary might still become pregnant by accident as many as 2 times on the pill, 4 times with condoms, and 7 using withdrawal, which is still better than the 10 to 20 pregnancies she would have if she used nothing at all. Poor Mary. Now, factor in the money and time and medical appointments and pharmacy visits required. Many unintended pregnancies in the United States are caused by gaps in contraceptive use, sometimes because people ran out of condoms or pills or patches or rings, and sometimes because they just got tired of putting up with the side effects of using the method every day, every act for years on end. Remember, Kiara?
I had lapsed in my birth control by like 2 days. My refill was late, and so I had to go back and get it. It was just a lapse in judgment. I was like, oh, it'll be okay. And then it wasn't.
2/3 of the participants in our study were using a contraceptive method in the month they conceived. If you have ever had the kind of sex that can lead to a pregnancy when you didn't want a baby and a pregnancy didn't occur, then you were one of the lucky ones. The unlucky ones show up at the abortion clinic. If there is an abortion clinic.
I really, really, really need him to grow up.
What was that? Who needs to grow up? You better not be talking about me.
Definitely not you. You'll never grow up.
Woo.
And we wouldn't want you to.
That's a relief.
Hello, how can I help you? Yes, this is a great time. Give me just a sec.
Rhonda, have you used the pill?
Oh, I've used everything.
And it's really effective, right?
If you use it carefully. If you're not good at remembering to do things regularly, it may not be the best method for you. But if you never miss a day, I think the chance of getting pregnant is like less than 1%. Of course, nothing's 100% effective.
Yep, okay, great. Yep, I've got you scheduled for next Friday at 11 a.m. Yeah, talk to you then.
else you want to know?
Yes, is it okay if I leave a little early today?
Sure, if you have to. Do you know about the film screening? There's a research group here that's studying media representations of abortion. Sometimes they screen a film and ask us questions afterwards.
I don't think I can tonight. I've got to go, but I'll see you tomorrow.
One week.
Does abortion cause psychological or emotional harm? This is the question that launched our study. The Justice Kennedy Challenge stated it seems unexceptionable to conclude some women come to regret their choice. The people in the study tended to be a little depressed at the start. They had an unwanted pregnancy, so maybe not a surprise, but they're doing better by the end of the study. This is a really simple representation of resilience 5 years after an unwanted pregnancy, whether it ended in an abortion or a birth. The 1,000 participants of our study were, on average, doing a lot better in terms of their mental health than when they were recruited. Do people who have abortions come to regret their choice as Justice Kennedy presumed? No. At the end of 5 years, over 95% say they don't regret their choice. Just ask Amy.
I don't think that the abortion has affected anything since then negatively. And honestly, I'm not sure it's been positive either. I mean, I think it was just something that I knew had to be done, and we went about our lives.
Or Kiara?
I don't think that abortion needs to spell the end of a woman's life. I feel like right now, maybe our society puts it that way. Like, if you have an abortion, you're damaged goods. I don't think that's true at all. I'm proof of it. I'm proof that having that abortion did not end my quest to take over the world.
Does this mean that there's no difference between those who received and those who were denied abortions? It does not. For every other measure of well being, the two groups diverge. For instance, the ability to pay basic needs. People who are turned away are much less likely to be able to afford food, housing, or transportation than those who received a wanted abortion. If there are children in the household, those children are more likely to be living in poverty and less likely to achieve developmental milestones if their mother was turned away than if she received the abortion. And there are serious health effects as well. Women who are turned away are much more likely to have life-threatening consequences from their pregnancies and report worse health for years after. Sorry, excuse me just a minute.
Shit. I'm still at work. No, I'm studying. Actually, no, I can't. There's too much noise, too much mess, and too many people. Nothing's wrong. I've got to go.
Oh my God, it happened. The Supreme Court has just overturned Roe v. Wade. I'm so sorry. This is going to affect your lives. This is going to affect your whole generation. They did it. We thought they might, and they did. I will get back to the Turnaway study, but there's something I feel I need to address first. Why did the Supreme Court make the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade? Let's see if I can tackle it calmly. First of all, it didn't come out of the blue. There have been 50 years of concerted effort to overturn Roe v. Wade. States made law after law that they knew would be contested, hoping they could fight it all the way up to the Supreme Court and get the decision reversed, which is what just happened. But what was the reasoning? Well, the majority opinion in the case says that there is no right to abortion because abortion isn't mentioned in the Constitution. There's no precedent for it. But do you know what else isn't mentioned in the Constitution? Women. There is literally no mention of women in the Constitution. One would hope that the Supreme Court will interpret the Constitution in a way that accounts for all the progress we've made. Not usually, but what the Supreme Court has done for much of its history and now in all of its decisions is protect the interests of white property owning men. That wasn't nearly as calm as I hoped.
Oh, hey, you're still here. You missed the movie.
I came back to do some studying. I've already seen Dirty Dancing.
Oh, so have I, but I can't get enough.
I love a good abortion movie, especially one where the woman who has the abortion doesn't die.
Well, 1 in 6 women dies after having an abortion.
What?
In the movies. In real life, it's safer than having a baby.
A lot safer. Women in the US are 14 times more likely to die carrying a pregnancy to term than from having an abortion. And for Black women, it's even higher than that.
Yeah, they are 3 times more likely to die during pregnancy or delivery than white women. And on that fun note, do you two want to go out for a drink?
I could do that.
I can't, but thanks.
Oh, come on. Now I've heard the time of my life.
Oh, we singing it? And I never felt this way before.
Mm-hmm. This I swear,
She swears.
this much is true.
Come on, Louisa.
And I owe it all to you. Oh, come on. Cheer up, Louisa. Nobody puts a baby in a corner.
If you only knew.
You don't dance?
Okay, your life really is a 1960s coming of age story?
No, there's a baby in the corner.
No, there isn't. You're just new to this. I think you're going to be great.
No, I mean I'm pregnant.
Oh.
Oh. Wow. How far along are you?
I don't know. My stomach's been off lately, but that's normal for me. I've been on the pill for a couple of months, but for all I know, I was pregnant when I started.
When was your last period?
I don't know that either, but irregular periods are a side effect of the pill.
That's true.
Well, most likely you're well within the time frame for getting an abortion. Don't worry.
You can't decide that for her, Rhonda. Maybe she wants to keep the baby.
Keep it? Is that what you want? I mean, what does your boyfriend think about it?
How can I tell him? I don't think he's ever even held a baby.
Well, that's easy enough to learn.
Yeah, most dads are so good at it.
Most dads are good at it.
A whole lot of dads hand the baby to mom as soon as the baby starts to cry.
And she can hand it right back. There's no reason for that.
The reason is that men are big babies.
Rhonda, all men?
Maybe there are a few grown-up men. Maybe you can meet one. Just come out for a drink with us or a soda or whatever.
I think I'll just stay here for a little while.
Do you want us to stay with you?
No, thanks. I just need to do some thinking.
Okay. Call us if you need us.
Why am I taking this so personally? Because I know the consequences of unwanted pregnancies from careful scientific study, and I feel them because of my own family story. My father's mother, Sally, had an abortion during the Great Depression. At the time, abortion was illegal in New York, so she traveled to Puerto Rico where it was legal. Later, she went on to have 3 children, my uncle, my aunt, and my dad. I learned about her abortion when I was in high school, and it made a big impression. Meanwhile, on my mom's side, her biological mother, Dorothy, became pregnant when she was 19. Years later, Dorothy told me that her 30-year-old golf instructor taught me more than I needed to know. And when she told him she was pregnant, he said that if she ever told anyone that the baby was his, he would get all his friends to say it could be theirs. That's my charming biological grandfather. Dorothy's parents were furious and sent her away to the Salvation Army home for unwed mothers in San Diego. Her baby, my mom, was placed for adoption. Dorothy experienced severe complications from delivery, both physical and emotional. After placing my mother for adoption, she struggled to find strong romantic relationships, and she never did get to have more children, though she desperately wanted them. My mom found her when I was 12, and my grandma Dorothy and I became super close. I was the one at her bedside when she died. Many of us are alive and well today because our mothers and grandmothers were able to avoid carrying an unwanted pregnancy to term. It allowed them to take care of the children they already had or have a baby under better circumstances later. And one more lesson from my family story. Anyone who suggests that adoption is a substitute for abortion, Amy Coney Barrett, is being callous about the physical health risks, the social stigma, the emotional toll. Relinquishing a child is extremely difficult. I see that in Dorothy's experience, and we see that in the study data.
I'm Angela. The day after my son was born was extremely hard. It was just extremely hard to see them drive away and not have the satisfaction of going home with my baby. I had to have a social worker come to my house so I could sign over my rights. She was saying, once you do this, you have no legal rights for the rest of his life. At any time, they can decide that they don't want you to see him anymore. They can do that. I was thinking, what if this is the wrong decision for him? I just don't want him to ever wonder why this decision was made or feel unloved.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. We will be contacting you by phone for another interview in 6 months.
Sí, sí. Muchas gracias. Adiós.
I was going to have you do a practice call in Spanish, but I guess you just went for it.
No, I didn't. That was my mom. I thought she'd make a good practice subject.
Yes, that sounds fine. I'll call you then.
How'd it go?
Terrible. I can't ask her those questions. I've never talked to my mother about sex ever. And when I asked her how she sees her life in 5 years, she said she imagines herself playing with a grandbaby.
You told her you're pregnant?
No, I can't. My 5-year plan is med school. What's your 5-year plan, Serena?
I want to go back home and open an abortion clinic where the needs of the whole person are met. Not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, and social. I'm tired of Black women being mistreated and unheard.
You too. Just so ambitious and good.
Yeah, well, it would take a lot.
You can do anything, Serena.
You're so strong.
Be careful with that word. Women are always expected to be strong.
Especially Black women.
Yeah. And they're expected to put up with anything that happens or doesn't happen to them. Men, on the other hand, you know why there aren't any male birth control pills? They stopped clinical trials because participants experience side effects.
Acne and mood changes.
Ooh.
The same exact side effects of nearly every birth control method available to women.
I wish I was stronger.
Are you kidding? Moving here from Texas, aiming for med school, working so hard, all at 22 years old? You are strong. Don't let being strong be the excuse for people to push you harder than you want to be pushed.
Who steps in to help someone who is denied an abortion? What we found is nobody. People who are denied an abortion are more likely to be raising children alone, without a partner, and without adult family members. 1 in 20 participants in our study experienced violence from the partner involved in the pregnancy. People who received an abortion experienced a sharp decline in violence. There was no decline for those who were denied. Put those things together with the fact that they are more likely to live in poverty, experience worse physical health, and struggle to take care of their existing children, and we are talking about lives of real hardship and strain. Remember Brenda?
Pregnancy definitely has a negative impact on people's financial well-being because it is very, very difficult to find a job when you're pregnant, to keep a job when you're pregnant, and to find or maintain a job with a baby, especially if your partner is a douchebag and doesn't want to help. The incidence of domestic violence skyrockets because you're financially dependent on your partner because you have to be home with the kid. Pregnancy is an incredibly scary thing, especially if you cannot trust the person you're with.
There is almost nothing more telling than the answers to the questions we asked at the very end of each interview. We asked, what are your plans for the coming year? Then we asked them to look further out and tell us what they hoped to be doing in 5 years, like Kiara.
If I hadn't had the abortion, the calmness and the strength and everything that I feel now, I don't think any of that would have been here. I feel like my life would still be as chaotic and kind of crazy. Even I think meeting and marrying my husband, I don't think that would have been possible had I had that child. And now I don't want children. For so long, our society has said, you graduate high school, you get a job, or you go to college, you get a job, you have kids, dog, picket fence, blah, blah, blah. I realized that that model was not going to work for me. I want to use all of my time and resources to explore versus finding that nuclear family. We're going to take another month-long trip this year.
I've learned a very important lesson that I can make plans and try to figure it out. But in the end, I never am going to know what's going to happen next. But I do have plans for myself to just really make my life worth it. Considering that I've given up a life in a way when I gave my son up for adoption. I'm just trying to make something for myself rather than nothing. If I make nothing, then it was not worth it.
Our daughter has grown up with everything that she could have, would have, should have given her. And it's a good life. It is an ordinary life, but it is an extravagant, wonderful, ordinary life.
Am I saying that every person in the study who received a wanted abortion had it easier and better than every person who didn't? No. There were 1,000 participants in the study with 1,000 different stories, real people with real hopes and dreams and real challenges.
Hi, Shaniqua. Thank you for your time. The information you provide will be kept confidential. If you tell me that you are having thoughts about suicide, I will provide a referral to support services and may be required to involve appropriate authorities. Suicide by cigarettes. No, I guess that doesn't count. So would you describe your work status right now? Sorry, I can't hear you very well. You were laid off? Hello? Oh, hi. Who is this? Okay. Can you put your mommy back on? Shaniqua? Okay. I see. Oh, wow. Okay, well, maybe this isn't the best time to talk. We can continue the interview tomorrow, same time? Okay, talk to you then. Wow, Shaniqua Turner. I knew her from the clinic where I used to work. And I remember her really struggling back then. Her mom had just died and she couldn't imagine giving birth without her mom with her. But we had to turn her away. And now I just talk to her child.
She had a baby,
There was nowhere else for her to go at the point when I turned her away.
but she's okay now.
It depends on what you mean by okay. She's resilient, but that doesn't take away the 3 or 4 years that maybe she lived in 10 different places. It doesn't take away the fact that she didn't know who was eating today. And it didn't take away the fact that she wore the same clothes for 4 years straight. You see what I'm saying?
I think so.
And also, what is she left with? There's no guarantee she's going to get along with the child. She's going to think about the abortion she didn't get. And she's going to think about everything she went through to raise that child.
Women are strong, but they shouldn't always have to be.
Exactly. And for women of color, it's even more true, which is some bullshit. It's not fair to say that women can endure a little bit more trauma than usual and say that we're going to be all right at the end of the day, because you didn't hear that we're all right, because we've been silenced by that trauma. So yeah, all right is not all right.
All right is not all right.
Right.
I want a baby.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I want a baby, but do I want one right now? I don't know.
Time for the big wrap up. Let's review what the data tell us. We found no evidence that abortion hurts women. In fact, we found the opposite. Abortion is associated with better outcomes for women and children compared to carrying an unwanted pregnancy to term. Happier romantic relationships, less poverty, greater ability to take care of existing kids, and a greater likelihood of setting and achieving aspirational life goals in the coming year, including having wanted pregnancies later. Did you get all that? Good, because it's pop quiz time, students. I'm going to describe a scenario to you, and you are going to decide what should happen next. So get ready. Remember to go to the YouTube comments or text your response, and here's the scenario. Imagine a young woman who just discovered a career she loves. She'll need an advanced degree to get where she aspires to be in this career. For now, she is working hard and saving money. She doesn't have a very steady relationship, though she does have supportive friends and family. Now, suppose this young woman gets pregnant without intending to. What does our research say about whether she should have a baby or an abortion? Let's imagine that she lives someplace where it's still legal. What do you think she should do? Have the child, have an abortion? Let me just see if I can see any comments come in on this. All right. As those come in, I'm going to let you in on this fact. It is a trick question. The answer is not your decision. The people in the study made the decision to seek an abortion based on how they thought a baby would change their life. And they were right. Nobody else can make that decision for them. Nobody else should make that decision for them. Not the Supreme Court, not their state legislators, not even a very smart class of college kids can know what is right for someone else. When people are not able to make the decision for themselves, their lives and the lives of their children will be worse off. George Tiller was a physician who provided abortions in Kansas and was assassinated by an anti-abortion extremist in 2009. He used to say, "Trust women." That's the big takeaway of the study. You can trust people who are pregnant to make decisions for themselves. That's usually the end of my talk, but I want to add this. I went into abortion research because I was interested in motherhood and family planning and science, not because I wanted to be an activist, but I think we all have to become activists now. So keep learning, stay informed, exercise your vote, speak up for the rights of people in your community and your country. You have the data.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you to all of my actors who gave up their time to tell these stories, and to my technical producer, Spencer Elliott, who's been behind the scenes, and David Orr, who has been helping, as David Orr always does. While we're waiting, while I have you, what kind of things jumped out at you? What kind of things did you learn? Was there any surprise? Was there any information that was unexpected? Feel free to let me know of any of those things that were very unexpected. I'm hoping we have Dr. Foster here with us. If we do, we're going to invite her into the studio. And if not, that's all right too. Loved the trick question. Wonderful. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Thank you very much. Thank you, Diana. I really appreciate it. And your study is fantastic. We left some links so that you can find it. You can also find it on Amazon. Telling these stories is really, really critical. It's important to share the stories so that we know the reality that people live.
Yeah, I should change my name. I'm not actually the Dr. Foster. My name is Andrea Lott Haney, and it was my pleasure to play Dr. Foster for this play. Dr. Foster, I saw you in the audience. I just emailed you our StreamYard link a little bit ago. We had some technical difficulties, so we had to change the link that we sent you before. So if you still want to come into our studio, we'd love to have you. Come on and check your email, and there should be that fresh link in there waiting for you.
For those of you who also are hopefully going to wait around for a few minutes to see if she can join us, lately or recently, Sally Fields, the amazing actress, she posted a video talking about her experience as a young woman, and had revealed this for the first time publicly in her life, that she had had an abortion. Hello, there she is.
It took me a little while to make the transition.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you're here.
Into the play that I forgot I might be on soon.
Well, I think that's a good sign, I hope.
Yes, it was great.
Good. Well, it is a pleasure to have you here. And I know I was going to ask, I have a couple of questions to ask you. One is in the play, of course, you know, the play is in 2022, and you say at the end, I wasn't planning to become an activist. What has been, how has your life been as an activist since that day, that fateful day?
Yeah. I think two things. One is that my sister wrote the play, and a little bit Dr. Foster in the play is less nerdy and more of an activist than I am quite able to do. So my instinct is to just do statistics. So
Yeah.
it's a struggle for me to rise to the call that I hear the actor saying that, and I'm like, yes, I should do that even more. But I have been very active in talking to the media. I'm trying to create studies that will reveal what the consequences of the end of Roe are. So in my way, I'm trying, but I definitely am not at my heart an activist. I'm absolutely at my heart a data nerd. So it's tricky. And that's why it's so good that it's not me doing the Dr. Foster part, that it's an actor who rallies the troops.
No, that's wonderful. But your data is what all the activism, it gives it that foundation. And that's what I think also really overwhelmed me in a great way in reading the play and diving into the book, is just capturing all these stories and how powerful it is, because we may have had individual conversations with people, but to put them all together, I think it's amazing. So can you tell me about, like, what was the vision for that? So your sister is the playwright, Leslie
Yes.
Lisa Green,
Yeah.
and how did that come about?
So I wrote the book in 2019 and told my sister I'm going to go on a book tour in 2020. But book tours did not happen in the year 2020. And so I had lots of, she had a lot, and I had said, for my book tour, could you give me excerpts from the women in the study so I can bring them along with me? And it isn't just me talking, but you can hear from real people who are affected by this.
Yeah.
And so she was working on that when we realized there would be no book tour, and she made it into a full play. So that's the genesis of this play. Is it came from a aborted book tour, and is now a play that's been staged by professionals, and it's been acted by medical students on campuses in ways that are really powerful. This is my first time, I think, hearing a community theater put it on, and I loved it. I thought it was so great.
Well,
And
we
haven't done it via Zoom like this, where you could see people in different places. That was also fun.
Good. I'm so glad.
And the actors were fantastic.
Yes, we are very proud of them. They are very, very good. Indianapolis does have a lot of talent here. So, so you're saying that your data is really also still helping and connecting and giving kind of a platform for people who are out there talking to politicians, to lawmakers. What can we do? I will say, I know the turnawayplay.com has some resources, and it has some ways that you can be active and be out in the community doing some of this work. There are all kinds of people, and I think it's great that you're saying, not everybody is that person who's going to pick up a sign and go to the front, and maybe there are other things that people can do. What kind of ways can we process all this? Because of course, since 22, it's just been overwhelming.
Yeah. I think some people have been volunteering to help get folks who need abortions cross state lines. Other people have been speaking to politicians and maybe telling their own stories, or just pointing out what an important and personal cause this is, and why that it's how much it affects people's lives. I've
Yeah.
been really amazed at, since the Dobbs decision, how many people have realized and are willing to be public about why it's important and how important it is.
Yeah.
That's been because even though I always knew it was important, the stigma was very strong. And it's really interesting that in this time when the laws have turned against people in like 14 states, that somehow the strength to resist is so clearly there.
Yeah. And it's, I'm glad you're still doing studies. And I know that I can't imagine how impatient you would be to get the data to be able to use it. But I know it takes a long process. What kind of things are you doing now? How are you, who are you looking at? What are you looking at?
So originally the idea was that we would recruit people who were last served in their state before a ban took effect, and then people who sought abortions after that and were denied because the law had changed. And we did recruit those two groups, and we've continued to recruit because over time after Dobbs, first there was so much money and energy put into helping people who are pregnant, and that's petering off some because we're so distracted by other things. And so the experience of someone who sought an abortion right after the Dobbs decision is different than someone who's looking now. And there are other things that have changed too, of now it's possible to order pills on the internet, sometimes with a clinician prescribing it through telemedicine. And so it's changing so quickly over time that I'm happy I'm continuing to study it, because the experience has changed so much over a very short period of time.
Yeah, it really has. I find it interesting, and I've been in this, an activist for a long time with this. I find it interesting and also disconcerting. Just before Dobbs, like, no politician would even say the word abortion. Like, it was a dirty thing to even say, even if they were protective.
Yeah.
And that has really, it's changed. And I'm grateful that some stories have coming out. Like when you were coming on the screen, I was talking about Sally Fields having just come out and told her story. And it's a very impressive and an amazing video for people to go and watch it. It's on YouTube. But one of the things that she says that I think is so powerful is that when it happened to her at 17, within the year, she was Gidget and she was the All-American girl.
Interesting.
And she said, I just didn't feel like I could really reveal the truth of what I'd gone through and still be the All-American girl. But now in her 70s, she's like, I've realized I still was an All-American girl.
Yes. That is fascinating and brave of her, and also telling a story that lots of us share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you once again, and your sister and the whole team, and to encourage people, if they want to do readings, to go to the Turnaway play. You all have been very gracious and very encouraging, and we want to make sure that these stories keep getting circulated. And I'm hoping that these stories can help in some way. Into fewer stories like it.
Start conversations and reduce stigma by just bringing some understanding.
Yeah.
Thank you to your artistic vision. I love the way that you did this, and your amazing both acting team and production team. This was so smooth.
Thank you. I'm glad it felt that way. I appreciate it, and I hope to stay in touch with you. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
Bonnie.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Diana. And thank all of you for being out there with us. This recording will be available. It will continue to be available. So if you want to share it with other people. But for now, thank you. Stay aware and stay active.